And I think we're live. Just gonna make sure that YouTube actually catches up. There we go. Sound seems alright. This time I didn't mute my microphone for the first 15 minutes. Anyways, devserver, new update coming out soon. And where there is some interesting stuff out there, even for Naval. Some which wasn't in the patch notes, and a lot of which was in the patch notes. And I'll do my best to try and go over everything, whilst every now and then sneaking a glance at the dev patch notes, whatever. Anyways, let's get started. For the American stuff, sadly nothing as of yet. Nothing that is noted in the patch notes at least. And let me check the actual tech trees again. Nothing new in here either. So, nothing American. We go to Germany, and that's where we probably get our first interesting boat, which is going to be, in the coastal fleet, Burnau. Could have sworn it was a different name on the dev blog for it, but oh well, Burnau. A 3.3, rank 4 German coastal with, most interestingly, Strelas, anti-air missiles. Other than that, this boat seems pretty standard. The one thing I have noticed is that it's very expensive RP-wise for where it is in the tech tree. It is very expensive, with 220,000 RP only being equaled by the early rank 5 stuff. With the later rank 4 stuff not even getting close to 220,000. So I assume it shouldn't stay at 220,000, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's look at it again. This is not the fast boy. This is not the fast boy. This is the slow boy. That seems to be the arcade top speed. I don't know why it is an arcade. Actually, I do know why it's an arcade. That's why. Let me take a look at it again. There we go. That's better. So it's a slow boat with 3 of these dual 25 turrets. They're pretty good guns. But as you can see, the firing arcs for the rear guns are probably not going to be the greatest. And I've already tried it out on my own. The only real firing arc where you can get all 3 turrets on target is when you're shooting behind yourself. Modification-wise, pretty standard and pretty darn expensive. I'll test it again. I'll test the missile again in the test drive just momentarily. But let me just first calculate what the top speed of it is. I think it was mentioned, but yeah, 30 stock to 30.5. 32. Yeah, that is exactly that. It is the Condor 2 in my that I noticed in my that I noted in my post. It has a different name on the dev server. Don't really know why, but it does. Anyways, let's test sail it, shall we? There we go. So we have air target. The way you use the missile is, here it is. You press R and the lock on indicator appears. Now plane is 2 kilometers away, no lock, no lock, no lock, 1.5, no lock still. Lock still. There we go. 1.2 kilometers is a lock on range. And I'm not going to fire now because I know that the missile will miss. So we'll just let it fly over us. So we can chase the missile, chase the plane over missile. Come on, get the lock. Get the lock. There we go. Fire. And we have to press R again. I keep forgetting. And that should hit. There we go. So it'll hit like when it's following aircraft, but the lock on range is really short. And usually you don't really want to use air defense systems when an aircraft is flying away from you, but rather when it's approaching you. And it's really not that great at it, although the test drive target is quite high up and it's not going for the ship directly. So it's definitely something I'd love to try out in combat situations. But another thing it is on the dev server is it's a bit bugged. I can activate the lock again, and I think you'll be able to hear it soon. It is all aspect. It is all aspect. With short range. You can hear it's locked on again, but there's no circle. And I didn't lose any missiles, even though I did. So let's actually restart it, and I'll show what happens when I try and shoot in a head-on engagement. Again, there it is. Genuinely, you have a better time just shooting at it. Of course, it's a very predictable plane path. We'll probably shoot it down before you get a missile lock, but let's see if we can get a lock. And try and launch it as best of an angle as we can, and it actually got it. So you can do it. You can do it in the approach angle, but it is it's really short range. But yeah, I'd love to see this tried out. It is a bit of a shame it's not under AI control. I know it is a modern missile not supposed to be fired against props, but at this BR you're only going to face props. So yeah. I don't know how many Gs actually. Let me look it up in the stat card in a moment. They changed. It does seem to be the same German voice actors, but apparently they made them a bit more accurate, a bit more correct. Yeah, they are different. But I don't know enough German to really notice the difference too much. Anyways, return to hangar and let me look at the missiles stats if I can. Let's go to modifications. Can we actually see the missiles at all? Not in the modification screen. In the X-ray screen? No. So I don't actually know the missile stats. Yeah, I can also not check it like that. But yes, there is a angle. Let me actually just test drive it again. There is an angle at which you can fire all guns. And that is right about there-ish. Hold on. There we go. But it's a really narrow angle before you lose all your guns. But basically just towards the rear half-ish. There we go. Hit. Lovely. Yeah, it is not a great missile. It's an interesting boat, but it's currently way overpriced for where it is. And a gimmick more than an actual interesting thing. I'm going to get the protection analysis at the end. But I'll get to there because there's something interesting there, but no spoilers yet, please. Anyways, on to the next in list. We get to the Russians with some interesting stuff. Oh, does it show protection now? Actually, yeah, let me check, because it doesn't show... It's a massive XP roadblock. It shouldn't be that pricey for where it is. It definitely shouldn't be. It should be around 80 to 100k. But yeah. Anyways. They're not modifications. If you go to protection analysis, does it show up? It doesn't. I really don't know how to show it, but yeah. But yeah, that RP value is it cannot be correct. I hope it isn't, because that's the same RP cost as the Albatross, which is a rank 5. Anyways, I was going to move on to Russia. We have a new coastal, and they also moved the PR 12 from the... I think it was in this line somewhere. I forgot if it was at the end or like in between the two. But they moved the 12 over to the right-hand side and slapped the new vehicle behind it. Which is a bit of a shame because I now can't test sail it. But it's very fast, and that is, I think, is it arcade? It's probably going to be arcade stats, isn't it? No, it is realistic stats. So stock, this thing moves at 103 kilometers an hour. And how much speed do you gain? So 106? 111? 112 almost. I'd say like 119, 120 kilometers an hour in realistic. So this thing is fast. It is really big. It is pretty big. It is chunky. This is also interesting, by the way. I've been hearing on my Discord server that this is a towed sonar array, but it isn't functional. As you can see, it also doesn't really have a thing, I notice. But yeah, this is interesting. The torpedoes, as you can see, decent speed, decent range. Actually, speed is a bit low. Low explosive mass. But it does have 8 of them, 4 on the side. Like these torpedoes, you shouldn't underestimate these kind of torpedoes, because enough of them will sink a ship, definitely. So this is going to be an interesting boat, but it's a very large one. No, these are torpedoes. They're torpedo tubes. These are not missiles. But yeah, dipping to whatever. Somebody told me that was some kind of sonar. Or at least that's what I heard or read. Also, is the chat actually popping up? Anyways, but yeah, missiles. It has the AK-630 in the rear, which can be quite meaty. Are they hittles? Well, in the good hands it can be. But yeah, definitely an interesting boat. But being a maximum rank one, it is going to be actually not the priciest. It's not, it's not 320 or 380. It's 280. An interesting boat, but 4.7. 4.7 is quite oof. Also, Scout, you shouldn't be too worried about like homing torpedoes, because we have several homing torpedoes in game, and that just don't home. I think that's just the same as the AK-176M. Isn't it the same as this one? Yeah, it's the same gun as the 12 for 12, and I think this one also has it. Yeah, it's this Russian automatic 76 you see at the later tiers. It's the same gun platform. It's just a unique boat though. 4.7 is going to be rough. Well, it'll be interesting, but I wouldn't want to actually spade this thing. I don't think we have a set 72 yet in game. But I'm not too familiar with these torpedoes either. Does SKR have them? Those are 40s. Yeah. It could see a hipper. Yes, this thing could indeed see a hipper. But yeah, it's probably, as Trick says, going to be a high BR vehicle, just to go for caps because it's fast. And probably has the armament to contest with a lot of high tier coastals. But yeah, that is Russia. So that's the 1145-1 and the coastal shuffle I was talking about with the 12 for 12 moving. Now Bravi, which I'm going to showcase in a test sail, finally has a reload animation for its missiles. So let's just showcase that. Oh. I thought that wasn't a thing anymore, but oh well, that's time to talk about that as well again. On the dev server, for some reason, there's this impact indicator for rockets. So let me actually like try aiming up. It's just some indicator showcasing where your rockets will go, which is interesting. It's weird that I see it now again because I haven't been seeing it the entire day. I'm not quite sure what the point of this is, because I don't really see it at all too necessary. And it's also kind of obnoxious because you can't disable it, you can't just turn off that green indicator. But yeah, that's an indicator for the rocket and not what I intended to show. But let's go to the missile. And try not to get too distracted by the red beam. Actually, I don't know, I haven't been using it too much. Let's see if it actually compensates for speed for you. It doesn't. Actually, no, it does show where the rockets will land. I think that's what's going on. You know, it takes your speed into account. So this green marker does actually show you where your rockets will land. Which is interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, so if I do this, the rocket should land on target. And they do. Yeah, that is also a one of the what I believe this would be for is to, you know, for future submarines, it would be very useful to have this marker. Although I would like it more on depth charges rather than rockets. I'd like to be able to actually disable it as well, but I will. Anyways, missiles. Before I get too distracted by shiny green thing. And there you go. Reload animation. It's very slow, but that's it. The reload time is still the same. But yeah, and I have an animation for missile reload. And now let me just catch up with chat whilst it's doing that. Actually, good point, Miho. Let me try. Yeah, it does. Let me try that for the burnout again to see if I can see missile stats. That's a good shout. Anything else I've missed? No, that's about it. And there you go. As soon as it reaches neutral position again, I am in control. Another interesting thing actually now, because it has a reload animation, the position of the launcher actually matters, because look, it's rotating to neutral and I'm not reloading, even though the bar says I am. But only once it reaches neutral position, it'll actually start reloading. So that is, you know, a slight nerf, I guess, to the Bravi's missile, but it really doesn't matter. But it is a neat little feature now. So yeah, that's to showcase for Bravi. And I think we can move on. We go to Britain, where I actually almost forgot about our addition. And that is Queen Mary. Let's look at the Blue Water Fleet. Coming in after HMS Invincible, which makes sense, as it is another battle cruiser. HMS Queen Mary. At 6.3, its armament is really good. The 13.5 inch will be quite punchy. However, also speed, actually pretty impressive for a battle cruiser. And let's actually look what the top speed would be. First of all, modifications. So that is 47, 48. Going to, if I can do math, 53. This is arcade, isn't it? To 60? Can it really go 60? Yeah, that is arcade. Let's try that again. That's really 45 still? Okay, that's 47 now. 50-ish. It's quick. It's actually a quick capital ship. I don't think I have the limbo mortars. I need to check again. Yeah, it's a pretty quick ship, well-armed ship for 6.3, but yeah, the armor is not the greatest for the BR. Although the main armor belt together with the coal bunkers are pretty good. So yeah, I assume it's going to be a fragile ship. Actually, let me look at the ammo. Ammo is below waterline. That rear turret is a bit still well enough below waterline. I think this might actually be a pretty great ship, but probably going to die to crew loss with the relatively thin armor. Even cruisers could deal with that armor. But yeah, this is going to be a neat ship, I think. At the BR of 6.3 at least. I wouldn't like to see it go up, because if it goes to 6.7, it's probably going to be rough. So yeah, that is HMS Queen Mary, coming in after Invincible, 230,000 RP. Sam, we're getting to that later. No spoilers. Anyways, then we go to Japan, which, as you can see by my Miyoko in my lineup, is getting a Haguro, the sister ship to the Miyoko. Also at 5.7, which is ridiculously low still. And also one of the, well, next to Tone being the only heavy cruiser with really good anti-air. Well, Aoba as well and Miyoko. But it's another late war Japanese cruiser. So it's going to be a very neat addition to my collection, that's for sure. With plenty of 25 mils for protection. And it's really just identical to Miyoko. So if you missed out on getting that for real money, you can just get it for free now. And I like Miyoko. It's a really nice ship. It is a bit fragile, but it's a nice ship. There's really not much to say about it. Armor-wise, it's standard. It's, you know, it's actually decently protected for a cruiser, but the crew compartments aren't really where they are. But again, we'll get back to that. Ammo is a bit on the high side for the Miyoko class cruiser. Definitely a bit on the high side. But yeah. I need to check, does Miyoko also only have 2 launchers? I think it does. Yeah, it does. So yeah, and another, you know, heavy cruiser for Japan. I'm definitely not going to complain about it. But there's also not much to say about it. Then we move on to Italy. That is not one to click. Italy, which gets a new coastal vessel in the shape of an LCS. But the unique thing about this LCS is the additional machine guns, and the front 76 is now another Bofors gun. So instead of 4 Bofors and a 76, you now have 5 Bofors guns, a bunch of additional, like, I think 4 more 50 cals. So 2 50 cals here, 2 50 cals here, and other than that, a pretty standard LCS. Armor-wise, nothing too special. And then, yeah, just nothing too special. It is an LCS with a bit more beefier armament. It sits, did I show? Yeah, it sits after the MC490 in rank 5, so it is pretty expensive. And yeah, it does have all the same benefits and all the same weaknesses as the LCS, but a bit more firepower. I think combined with Gabbiano is probably pretty neat, actually. Yeah, it just means you have a bit more staying power if you put Gabbiano in a lineup. But, you know, something to have a lineup with Gabbiano. Also, I found the LCS to be quite fragile. But yeah, that's it for Italy. And then we go into France. Which, don't look at those crew slots yet. We first go to their new ship additions. If we can actually go to the Blue Water Tree. We have Tornade, if that is how you pronounce it in French, which is just a premium version of this boat. But I think with more anti-air by the looks of it. Oh yeah, 2 dual 13.2s. Definite improvement over anti-air capabilities. I mean, I wouldn't really get it. I don't like the French reserve destroyer. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's just, it exists. It's something. I really don't have anything good to say about it. A bit questionable, but yeah, it is what it is. Another reserve premium, basically. But then we get to the actual kind of interesting boat, coming in after Vauquelin, or Vauquelin, whatever. We have Quiché, if again that is how you pronounce it, which is an interesting boat, which is actually, if you can tell by the candy cane, an Italian boat in origin, but it's seen a heavy refit. You have, also I've forgotten to look at the Bernau missile, but I'll get back to it. You have the German 105s, like the anti-air mount, as the main armament. Those are indeed German 105s. Then you have the French, and I think the first appearance of these French 57s, with 4 here and 1 here. And then you have really bad torpedoes. They go 46 kilometers an hour, which is painfully slow. 5 kilometer range is decent, they pack a decent punch, but 46 kilometers an hour is really bad. Anyways, let's test sail this one, because it is actually a unique boat, and let me equip torpedoes. And let's have those 57s shoot against the aircraft. So yeah, this is an interesting boat to see, because I think it's actually a post-war ship, technically. It's a bit of an anti-air, like, destroyer, early cruiser. Torpedoes actually have a decent firing arc. Let me check. Oop. That's not the one I wanted to have. There we go. So all the way to the back, like that. Actually, all the way to the back like that. Look at that. That's an impressive torpedo angle, and all the way forward, I think. If the torpedo launcher wants to rotate. There we go. Can we go forward more? No. So the limit is that. But really good torpedo angles. So they can be interesting in a close range brawl, but they're really slow though. You do need to take that into account. The main guns, however, being anti-air 105s, let's actually test them out. They're probably not going to be the greatest against surface ships. But I mean, yeah, they can work, apparently. And it is, I believe, a 4.3 ship. Let me look at the ammo again. Yeah, it's a 4.3 ship. Is it a cruiser or is it actually a destroyer by class? It is a destroyer, so it gets destroyer spawn points, which is really, really good. And let me check the ammo again. It is just HE, it's not VT, sadly. And the main gun ammo is just HE or HETF. But it's an interesting boat. It is definitely an interesting addition. And, you know, it has a place in the 4-3 lineup, definitely. So it is a very, very interesting ship addition. But let me just quickly move back to the burn now to see if you can see the missile stats. And then we'll move on to other additions that affect the naval. So can I see the missile stats? I cannot. It doesn't show anything when I hover over. Oh, well, let's just launch this missile when we're here again. A lot is. I just went over all the new ships. I'm now gonna go over all the new modifications, but I'll just do a quick rundown if you want. There we go. I'll just do a really quick rundown of all the new ships. So, missile boat, new one, really pricey for where it is. Probably is not going to be that price when it goes live. Has a missile, interesting. Russia has Highter Coastal Edition. Britain has Battlecruiser. Japan has a new cruiser, which I really like because I'm a Japanese main. Low Tier Coastal actually isn't anything new because Italian is also Highter Coastal. And then France has two low-tier stuff, or low-tier premium destroyer, which is garbage, and an actually unique destroyer. Now, all the other stuff you see here in my crew slots, maps. There's one new map, which I'll actually go to first. I think, there it is. So this is a new map, Bering Sea. I'm not going to try and find a match in it, and I cannot use it in a custom battle, sadly. But it looks interesting. I don't really like this funnel, these alleys next to sea. You don't really have any real cover to use. Although you could probably hide behind these islands just here. The B point looks interesting. The A point is just open ocean, but yeah. But the B point looks interesting. I'll definitely be interested to see that. Yeah, I know. Gringe, I know that. It's a Italian war prize, whatever. But yeah, it's a interesting boat, that new French one. French-Italian one. Yeah, this new map, I'll have to see it in battle to actually get my verdicts on it. Now, let's go over to the scuffed version of me trying to share images. Let's see. So 4 maps got changed. Let's see if I can just do this. Hold on. If we do this, if we do this. There we go. Now you can see it. So, Volcanic Islands got changed, with the left map being the one we currently have on live, the right-hand side one being the new one. I think you can already see what's changed. They just removed a bunch of islands. The most important one definitely being this one here near C, because that is a really, really important bit of cover for this spawn point. Which also seems to have changed a bit, like this middle one has moved closer. The coastal spawn points have also changed, where they're now actually, in the lane so they can get to B quicker. But yeah, the removal of these islands, I'm not a fan of. They have also changed the islands in the middle a bit, I've heard. I actually need to see the changes for myself. And I haven't yet. But yeah, these changes I'm not a fan of. Then we get to the next map. Where is it? There it is. South Kvarken, I think. And you can see also removed a bunch of islands. That's just what they did. Remove a bunch of islands. You can see here basically, if you look at this map we have on live, being the left one, the new map being the right one, everything south of this curve is just gone. It just they just turned the south of South Kvarken into an open ocean map. Yeah, but the thing about Campfest, right? Use cover. Just know how to use cover. People who complain about people using cover, I'm sorry to say, need to cope. And I'm going to be very passionate about that, because cover is really, really important. But knowing how to position your ships is important. And just removing cover and removing options of where to go is a bad thing. So they just removed all the cover in the south of this map. All of it. Making Blue Water have to basically just, be an open ocean map again. And if you're in a ship that needs to use cover, well, you're fucked. You're now having to spawn in open water against ships that will probably kill you instantly out of spawn. Have fun. So that's South Kvarken, probably the worst affected map out of all of them. And then we move on to Fuego Islands, which has also been ruined. So let's go left to right. The A point hasn't changed much. The B point also had most of its cover changed. The islands, these ones over here, have moved further apart. And the islands north, in and south of B have been removed. So there's no cover on B anymore. B is now an open ocean cap. That island on B was really important to use as cover so you don't get, sniped from across the map. The C point has had a similar fate, where the islands north and south of it, have also just been removed. These were low islands, so they weren't really effective cover, but they were cover enough to use, to just mask your magazines, for example, or just, be. They're cover for torpedoes, they're cover for your lower hull, they're cover that you can use in some extent. But that's gone. So they made the semi-open C point and the relatively closed B point into two open caps. Why? People are already not going to objectives. Removing the protection of objectives is just insane. Like, even less people will go to objectives now. It's just... I'm not a fan of it. Even as a Japanese man, even as somebody who likes using torpedoes. Because the thing is, okay, sure, people camp behind islands. Removing cover so you don't have a clear way to get closer to objectives is not going to make that better, it's going to make it worse. Because people are just going to stay further away and not get close to objectives even more. And then we get to our last victim, but luckily the least offensive one, Aleutian Islands. They basically removed this big island south of C, it's just gone. It does mean that the Blue Waters now have direct line of sight between their spawns, which, why? Why remove the one island that means you didn't have spawn-to-spawn shooting? God knows. A good change is that they again moved the coastal spawns a bit closer to the objectives. And that's a good change because the coastal spawns on the map currently on live are really far away from it. And it's really painfully from a slow coastal. But yeah, those are the map changes. To summarize those map changes, and let me actually go back to the game. And let me just go back to this. The map changes overall, I'm not a fan of. They just remove cover, like really essential cover, just gone for no real reason. I do not understand the reasoning behind that, but yeah. Those are the map changes. What else do we have? Well, tech tree and crew. Yeah. Anyways, so this tech tree and crew, what I mean with that is the tech tree, you can now, folder if you don't want to see certain ranks. Which is probably not going to be something too useful to most people. But what I like, for example, I don't really play Lothar Brit anymore, but I want to grind out my high tier. I can just folder these ranks. So I can just see the ranks I want to really be preoccupied with. And if I switch to another nation, I switch back. Look, I'm right back to where I want to be. It's a feature that probably not everybody will like, but I think I'll have my uses out of it. What I mean with crew is you can now, that one's actually already crewed, I think. You can drag and drop from the tech tree into your crew slots, which is kind of neat. You can't sadly drag them off the crew slot, but oh well, it's beginning, I guess. Yeah, I actually kind of like this. So that is tech tree and crew. When we have radar, okay, now I have to actually take the patch notes again because it's a whole list of ships, mainly German ones, have got an air search radar. Yeah, that's something I've read as well. They're going to expand that. Anyways, where is this radar again? Because there's a whole bunch of ships that got air search radar. Come on, where is it again? There it is. So, Le Malais has air search radar now. Leopard, which I'm unsure if they mean this one or this one. Probably not this one. Let me actually check. Yeah, let me actually check the... Actually, which leopard are they talking about? Because there's quite a few leopards by now. Does this one have radar? What leopard are they talking about? Anyways, a leopard. I don't know which leopard ship, but well. M802, so this boy, now also has air search radar, as does T22, T31, which is a rare event premium I do not have, or a rare premium, Z15, Z20, which is also a premium I don't have, Z25, Z32, which is this one, Z46 and 47 and 43 as well, together with Emden, Nuremberg, Hipper, Eugen, Spey and Scharnhorst all have air search radar now. So most of the German destroyers got air search radar, quite a few of their cruisers got air search radar, actually all of their 5.7 ones, and Scharnhorst now have air search radar. Which is always good to see an expansion on air search radars being a thing. But yeah. Then we go back to what the next few are. Also remember that I do make a video on the update as well when the update goes live, if you want to see that afterwards, but that's going to be whenever the update goes live. Even still, the thing is, campers, that doesn't exist in Naval. That's people using cover. I do not understand why people call people using cover campers. It's one thing if they're doing it in spawn, sure, but they did not remove cover from spawn. They removed cover in the middle of the map. So it isn't to stop campers, it's to stop people using cover, which doesn't make sense to me, but oh well. We go on to what is the next bridge. Right, this is an important one, and if I have my friend Sam still watching, but actually it doesn't matter. So before, or currently on live, if your bridge gets knocked out, you can no longer control the ship, right? Now, on the dev, if your bridge gets knocked out, you can still control the ship, just much more slowly. Your steering will be slower and your engine like speed switching will be slower. But yeah, maybe Sam, would you mind hopping into a custom again? Although, do I really need to? Let's do that later. Let's do that at the end because that's gonna take a little while. If you don't mind, and I'll just go over all the other quick stuff first. The French cruisers finally have their planes modeled on the catapult. A small thing, but they're finally there. I think if I can get Saffron, or the Saffron class. I don't see it on this one because I don't have it, and I don't have it on the Colbert yet either. But yeah, French cruisers finally have their float planes on their catapults. Then we have hitcam and cycling. That's also something I'll show in battle, so we'll get to that later. More voice lines is also something I'll show in battle. So now we get to the thing that I only found out about today, like half an hour before the stream started, and isn't in the patch notes. And I'm going to take a ship, which is a really good example for it. We're going to the Alwyn. Actually, let's use the drag and drop feature. There we go. Yes. The Alwyn. What I discovered is if you go to armor, if you go to protection analysis, there is a new button, crew map. And that shows you where the crew is on a ship. Red being where the most crew is, green being where the least crew is. But this is a really, really nice little tool to have, because now you just know where to shoot. So, for example, this Alwyn, if you want to kill the most crew, you want to shoot the engines. The transmission is here. Actually, let me try and show you, because the colors for the time being just stay. There we go. The transmission is the next highest value. There's crew compartments here. Then there's crew in here, because that's the radio station, fire control room. There's crew in the bridge. There's a crew compartment here, just above the, below the gun. And if you go back to the armor viewer, there's crew in the guns, there's crew in the torpedo launchers, there's crew, yeah. It is a really, really nice change, really. And let's actually go take a look at bigger ships, if I remember how to. Because another nice one I found was Newport News. We have that's not the accurate one. Let me just re-click the button. There we go. That's where the crew is on Newport News. So the big crew compartments are here, all along the deck, and they're big. That's where most of the crew is. The engines are then more valuable. There's also crew in the turrets, and there's crew in the fire control stations apparently, which I didn't actually know. But this is such a good change. You can also see there's no crew in the anti-air guns. So if you're ever into arguments of, oh, this bleeds crew, that bleeds crew, you can just see where the crew is now. And even neater, it depends on the angle where you're looking. So let's say you have an angled Des Moines, and you want to know, okay, where do I shoot to hit the most amount of crew? Okay, you shoot here. That's where you can hit the most crew. I must note that this doesn't show you where you should shoot to kill the ship, because at Des Moines you just ammo rack through here. But this shows you where most of the crew is. And let's actually go to something like a Nevada, which I haven't looked at yet. Nevada. Can we drag and drop it? There it is. Sure, do it. Go ahead. It's also, like, everybody can see this on the devserver, but I literally just discovered it half an hour before the stream started, which I was really excited about. Yeah, look. And it's also really good. We can finally know for sure there is no crew in small AA guns. At least, not that this thing tells us. So when you go to Nevada, we can tell there's no real crew in the upper deck. And why does it show here? I'm not quite sure about the accuracy yet of this tool, but it is interesting. It's a really interesting and cool little tool. I'm really excited about it. Another thing that I personally found interesting to, for example, take Scharnhorst as an example, is it also works top-down. So if you go to production analysis and you do crew map. So if you're, for example, an AP bomber, you know where to try and bomb for most of the crew hits. It's a really, really neat little feature that works surprisingly well. At least to my knowledge, it hasn't been inaccurate yet. It's a really good addition. It really is. And I'm really happy to have spotted it. But yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really nice, neat feature that is surprisingly accurate. I was about to actually look at the Congo just before you said that. Production analysis. Let's do something like this. There we go. Yeah. You now just see where the crew compartments are. It's a bit weird, because if you want to see where the actual crew compartments themselves are, you want to try and be as broadside as possible to the ship. Can be a bit tricky. But yeah. So fire control towers, the larger secondaries, the bridge. But the 25s, as you can clearly see, don't hold any crew at all. At least according to this this little thing. Yeah, it's a really interesting tool. Because the thing is, there was somebody, I know somebody who did a lot of work, a lot of amazing work trying to like map all the crew compartments and their values. But this is just so useful. This is such a useful tool. I'll get to the requests. Hold on. It doesn't work on coastals, yeah. And that was Mathematica, yeah, that's right. It does not. It also doesn't work on frigates and coastals that have the blue water damage model and frigates. It doesn't work on that yet, I assume. It might come to those, but I'm not sure. I was going to look at Harna, because somebody asked, and I was going to look at Belfast. There we go. But yeah, it's just a really good feature. It comes out of nowhere because it's not in the patch notes anywhere, but there it is. A way to actually know where your crew compartments are on a glance, and know like where the most crew is. That's the important part. The fact that you know where the crew is and where it's concentrated is really, really nice. Let's actually look at Belfast, the notoriously fragile one. So let's go to protection analysis. Let's go broadside view again. There we go. Yeah. Is there actually a crew compartment there? Yeah, there is. There's a big old crew compartment there. This is just such a good change. Such a good change. Or just addition, really. It's not even a change. If we look top down, let's actually look at Belfast top down. I could look at ships for hours in this mode, just to look where all the crew compartments are. Like, let's go to a Hipper, for example. That's German. Yes, torpedo launchers hold crew. That is something I've known before, but torpedo launchers do hold crew. Hipper, I was going to look at a Hipper. Oh yeah, they removed the premium one, didn't they? Yeah, look, torpedo launchers have crew in them. Plane catapults don't. At least this one doesn't. But yeah, this is such an amazing feature to just add out of nowhere. That's actually a good question. Is my torpedo launcher empty? Does that change anything? So if I remove my torpedoes, does it remove the crew from that station? Oop, that was not what I was intending to do. I'm just a bit bad at remembering my buttons. No, so if you have torpedoes or not, there's still crew in them. At least according to this little heat map. Let me check Isuzu again. That's a good idea. On request, let me check Isuzu. But yeah, no. The 25s, like small caliber AA, does not hold crew. At least according to this heat map, it doesn't. I do want to add that very big caveat. According to this heat map, it doesn't hold crew. Which I am inclined to believe, but yeah. Let's look at Paula. And then we'll get into a custom battle to show some other stuff that I haven't done yet. There we go. So the crew compartments being above the Citadel. Yeah. But this is just really interesting. The one thing is that you have to take into account this heat map works based on where you're looking. So like this is a bit confusing because you're like coming in from an angle. So that's a bit confusing, but it's still interesting to see. Like, so it's a bit more interesting to see like flat on. Okay, so there are crew compartments. Even more like this angle. Okay, you want to shoot here if you can pan. Because that's another thing you have to take into account. Is that this heat map does not show where you can pan. It only shows where the highest concentration of crew is in a ship. But that is just such a neat feature. Anyways, me and Hylian Knight are going to get into a custom battle to showcase, let me see, hitcam and cycling, voice lines, and bridge. I should probably get into something that isn't Japanese, so I want to show off the voice lines. Let me get an American. Let me use the Alvin actually. So I'll set up a custom battle. No, because again, it doesn't take into account. It doesn't have anything to do with the shells or what's shooting at the target. All it looks at is just the concentration of crew on the target you're looking at. Which is, yeah, definitely. I need to think of a good map again for close range stuff. Japanese ports would be used for destroyers, that's right. And just a jumble of password, there we go. We'll invite my friend. I'll show the heat map of that after this little thing. I think my Nevada has a float plane. I'm a bit late for that, but I'll think of one. I really don't remember if Nevada has a float plane or not. Oh well. Of course, there are a bunch of other minor changes as well, which I always recommend you read the patch notes for yourself. But as you noticed, not everything is in the patch notes. And as you can see, this heat map thing is definitely a work in progress, because that is not the heat map of this ship. Yeah, you now have voice lines for switching shell types, if it wants to work.
Load SAP. Load HC.
Oh, they actually say HC as well, high capacity. That's nice. So yeah, there's new voice lines. I don't actually know what all the new voice lines are. We're probably going to discover them. Actually, doesn't it list some of them? Yeah, there's yeah. Okay, there's quite a few more voice lines I'll have to discover. But we were going to test bridge, and we were going to test anything else? Oh yeah, the bridge control thing is basically the most important part.
Left standard rudder. Aye aye.
Also, the cycling. What I wanted to mention about cycling is that you see here this Control E button. So to switch armament groups, what you had to do was, you know, you can manually switch to. It's actually a bad ship to show them because it doesn't have 3 of them. But you press Alt 1 and 2 to switch between weapon groups. Well, now there's a button that just cycles between all your weapon groups. Although it doesn't seem... the cycling button doesn't work because there's no tertiary weapons. Oh, that's... oh boy. Oh well, that's a dev server for you. That's something I'll be reporting. But basically it means that instead of having 3 keybinds to switch between the 3 weapon groups, you can have 1 keybind to cycle between your weapon groups. But oh well. Anyways, Sam, could you shoot my bridge?
All stop.
If you can do it with me moving like this. There we go. So the bridge has been knocked out, but as you can see, I can still control my ship. My turn rate is most certainly slowed down. Also, alarm sounds have changed. I don't know if you could hear it there for the fire, but the alarms have become a lot more distinct between what they actually are. I think this was actually supposed to be the last update, but yeah. As you can see, knocked out bridge. Still under control of my ship. I can still change engine speed, I can still turn, although much slower. And this is the interesting bug, I think, that we've noticed. You're no longer forced to repair your bridge under certain circumstances. So, if I'm now set on fire, that fire extinguishing is no longer, you know, increased because I have a bridge repair. So yeah, the fact there's no mandatory or forced bridge repair is a really big thing, especially for tournaments or the more competitive players. But we have noticed that, Sam, if you could do the honor of shooting my turret, actually, let me repair first. Or, yeah. I'll come to a halt. This thermal mapping again is a bit odd, but it will. It does kind of look like that, yeah. There we go. Just 7 more seconds. So if you would now shoot my bridge again. If you could. I'll get to it later. It's just a bit of a bug. Now you do have a forced bridge repair. So it's... yeah. Yes, exactly, Scout. That's exactly what I'm saying. Although it seems that if you have taken damage to other modules before your bridge, you are still forced to. But it's weird because then sometimes it cancels the bridge repair automatically, other times it doesn't. It's really weird. So it might be a bit bugged. There we go, bridge repaired. If you now could you shoot my turret and then my bridge again, Sam?
We are hit.
Or my engine or whatever. A forced bridge repair you cannot cancel.
Losing power. Ship is disabled.
Yeah, no forced bridge repair would be really amazing, especially now that you can control your ship. There we go, forced bridge repair again. Let's see if it actually sticks around this time. And yeah, as you can see, the damage camera is a bit different as well. That's another change I was going to bring up. Although that's one I haven't really explored too much yet. But apparently the damage cam should have been a bit more refined now. So it's a bit clearer what you're damaging, what's being destroyed and stuff like that. Sam? Could you detonate my rear magazine? Like actually detonate the ship, and I'll shut up for a second and listen if there's a new crew voice line. I don't know if Fire Magazine Room was one that already existed. Yeah, just shut up a bit so the crew voices can be heard. Actually, let me turn up my volume a bit. Just keep shooting. Actually, could I maybe detonate you and see what happens? If you're fine with that.
All hands, we have been critically damaged.
Is there ammo there? There is. There's a shell room there.
Identified. Destroyer. 200. 500 meters.
I'm getting to it.
Repair. Enemy hit. Target destroyed.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky to try and get all the voice lines to trigger. And I don't actually know all the voice lines yet. But I'm gonna J out. I'm gonna see if my Nevada has a float plane.
All hands.
I think my Nevada has one, and I'll see if there's a voice line for that. I do not have a float plane in Nevada. Let me just quickly get a ship with a float plane. And I'll get back. Now, what ships have float planes? I think this one does, doesn't it? Yeah, this one has a float plane. So I'll just jump right back. I'm not too sure about that. I'll need to check that out.
Bosun, bring us to general quarters. Engines flank speed.
So as soon as we get a
Standard
plane,
rudder.
Right standard
I'll shut up
rudder.
again and
Aye,
listen
aye.
to crew voices.
Get the flyboy airborne.
Get the flyboy airborne, okay. No voice line there. And if I lose it...
Destroyer. Ahead.
Actually, you know what?
Make condition 1.
Sam, you don't happen to have an aircraft with you?
Left standard rudder. Aye,
Because if
aye.
you could shoot down my scout plane whilst I'm like not in the whilst I'm not in it, that would be lovely. Yeah, if you could bring a plane, then shoot down my float plane as it's AI controlled. See if that has a voice line. I've switched off my anti-air guns as well. I have heard something about shell prepping rooms or shell prep rooms being like chaining down to detonate. So basically, I've heard something. I'm not too sure about it. I might be entirely wrong. About like ammo elevators now being kind of prone to spreading detonations. I'm gonna launch it still. I'm gonna launch it.
spotter plane.
Launch spotter plane this time. Why does it doesn't want to launch again? Let me respawn.
All hands. Abandon ship.
Because it bugs out like that sometimes.
Right standard rudder.
Right standard rudder. Aye, aye.
Wait for the float plane to become available.
Get the flyboy airborne.
And I'm going to launch the float plane over towards sea. Get it to altitude first, so it doesn't stall, climb and crash itself. Get those dead weights off of me. And now it should be able... There it is. You can shoot it down whenever you want now. Let's hear if there's a voice line.
Scout shot down.
Yeah, there's a voice line. Scout shot down.
Pull left over.
Left hard rudder. Aye, aye.
Waiting for the plane to get ready again. I'll see if there's a...
Engines all back.
Because they said there's going to be a voice line when launching it as well, isn't there? Yeah, preparing for launch. Launch itself has a voice line, but I haven't heard it yet.
Steady as she goes.
Holding course. Aye, aye.
Come on, float plane. True. Radar locks should have a voice line as well. Let me get a radar ship after this. No voice line for the launch though, which is a bit disappointing. Okay. again. Free to shoot it down whenever. If you don't crash. If you didn't crash. Let me, in the meantime, get a radar ship. Do I have a radar ship with a plane? The Hipper. Let me get a Hipper. Although that's German, I can't understand the whatever it's saying. The Fargo doesn't have a plane. I don't know what has a plane. Any of you quickly know which of these ships have a plane and radar? That's English speaking. Yeah, just well, lock radar would be nice as well. Just radar and plane. Actually, do the British? I think Norfolk has one. Okay, this Cleveland. I definitely didn't click Wyoming. Does this thing have a plane? It does have a plane. I believe Cleveland has a radar as well. No, it doesn't.
Bring us to general quarters.
It does not.
Engines flank speed.
Baltimore then, I guess. Yeah. Baltimore. Where did I put my Baltimore? There it is. Let's see. Doesn't have radar either. Oh no. What English-speaking ship has radar and a plane? Does Fargo have a plane? Oh yeah, I forgot Fargo has a plane.
Captain has the con.
God damn it. Yeah. Let me get Fargo.
All hands.
I completely forgot about Fargo's funky plane situation. Where did I put my Fargo again? There it is. I need to remember to look at the heat map of the Brooklyn class as well after we're done with our testing.
Engines flank speed.
Okay, there we go. Radar active.
Radio bridge. Spotted on radar. Attacker. Ahead. 13,000 meters.
There you go.
Close.
Bosun, make condition
So
one.
it says range, heading, and if they're closing or not. That's cool. It could
Right,
be a
standard
bit
rudder.
quicker though, in my opinion.
Right standard rudder. Aye aye. Target locked and being tracked.
Target locked and being tracked. Doesn't say anything about losing a lock.
Target locked on. Target tracking lost.
Target tracking lost. Okay, so it did actually say something.
Left
No,
standard
this.
rudder.
I'll get back to what the colors are in just a bit because you haven't probably seen it. But yeah.
Target being tracked.
Anyways, let's prepare launch again for a plane.
Engines all stop.
If my key. Oh, I'm
Get
pressing the wrong
flyboy
key.
airborne.
There we go. Still no thing I can hear for launching it. Okay, you're free to shoot it down whenever again.
Lost.
I think that'll be the last of my testing and I'll get back to hangar. I also need to look at the new rocket thing again. Oh boy. Camera does not like tracking a turning plane like that. Kingfisher
Target
strong.
locked and being tracked.
Didn't say anything about that flipping, but oh well. Anyways, new voice lines. I'll go back to hangar. And Sam, thank you for your cooperation. and we'll look at more stuff in the hangar. First and foremost, because somebody asked, the Brooklyn's crew heat map. And I'll explain for the people who have joined me recently what this weird coloring on my ship is. Where's Brooklyn again? Oh, there it is. So, this color, it isn't accurate for the ship, but if you go to Armor, Protection Analysis, blue water ships have this new feature called Crew Map. And it shows you the location and density of crew in a ship. Which is just really, really neat. They did actually mention that they moved around the Brooklyn's crew positions a bit. I think. Oh well. Yeah, I think that there used to be one here as well, wasn't there? They removed that one. One behind here as well. I was going to look into the rockets more, wasn't I? Let's take our favorite disgusting rocket boat. The SKR. Let's go, Coastal Fleet.
По местам стоять.
And now the rocket thing isn't here anymore.
РБУ огонь!
Есть поражение. На радаре истребитель.
Firing angles?
Дистанция 2000.
Боевая тревога!
Цель выведена из
As far as I know, the Certus missiles have always been fine. Let me actually check them out again. SATA. It's in here.
Preparare la nave alla battaglia.
Why do I only have one rocket?
Massima velocità.
Why does it say I only have one rocket?
Ponte TSF sul radar. Aeromosse d'attacco. Avanti! 2000 metri.
Oh, that's. I'm not gonna get to the plane in time.
Posti di combattimento. Nemico avvistato. Timone a mezza nave.
Timone a mezza nave. Sì, signore.
Bersaglio agganciato e monitorato. Bersaglio perso. Armi antisommergibile.
What
Lancio.
was that?
Tutto a babordo.
Okay, they're not splashing into the water.
Motori. Arresto totale. Armi antisommergibile. Fuoco. Bersaglio individuato.
There it is.
Caccia torpediniere. Bussola. 2-0. 3000 metri. Colpo diretto. Deposito munizioni colpito.
But yeah,
Armi antisommergibile.
there we go.
Lanciato.
I've run out of rockets. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is really there to showcase. I think I went over all of it. If somebody wants a quick rundown, please tell me. Yeah, kind of. Apparently, Haguro has like slightly fewer anti-air. So it has 8 duels, 4 triples, and 20 singles. Okay, 24, 8, 4, 24. 8 for 20, so it has 4 less 25 mils. I will. I think they were pretty much the same. I actually looked at it earlier before the stream, and they look pretty much the same. Let me look at Haguro first. So again, we try and be as broad as possible. There we go. And then we go to Miyoko. It's pretty much the same. So it seems that Haguro and Miyoko share the same crew vulnerability. I do have HMS Tiger. I actually have a stream of me playing HMS Tiger for like 3 hours. If you ever wanted to see me play it. It's actually one of my fairly recent, it's like a month ago now. No, it's a while ago now. But I have a stream on it. I kind of like Tiger. It's not the greatest HMS Tiger, but it's I liked it. It's unique. Speaking of, I can actually look at that crew as well. You know, I genuinely, I'm gonna be staring at this crew mapping for ages when the update goes out. Just looking at where all the crew is, especially on ships I have difficulty dealing with. But it's a really, really neat feature. Yeah, I'm really trying to think if I've missed anything, but I don't think I have. So if there's any questions, also by the way, whilst my streams do focus on the naval editions, if there's anything you want me to check out because you haven't been able to see it for yourself yet on the dev server, ask me. But do know that I really don't know. I don't know anything about aircraft or tanks, about their special stuff. But if you want me to look at something because you haven't had the chance to look at something yet, go ahead and ask me. But yeah, let's look at Sendai. Oh, Belgium, that's right. Crew map. Yeah. You can also just double check if they're actually there. That crew position is probably the most painful one. Surprisingly little crew in the front of the ship. Really? I haven't really queued yet, to be honest. I haven't played any matches of Naval. I haven't really tried. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Another thing that's going to be preoccupying me this update is my nation being added to the French tree. Especially their F-16s. And as you can see, my French tree is lacking. So I'm going to be having to play a lot of French air to just get my own nation stuff. Actually, let me, because Milk asked for the secondary weapons on the... If there's anything in specific you want me to look at, just tell me. I don't think you see enough jets at 7.0 to try and mess with the Strela. And also even against jets that the Strela doesn't have the best lock-on range. But yeah, that's the top Belgian F-16. I was going to look at something... F9F for US Air. F9F8. Where is that thing again? Is it the secondary weapons you wanted to see? Yeah. And they are custom. Yeah, but we're only getting Belgian and Dutch aircraft this update, and probably tanks soon to follow. Anything else I'm missing? Map layout, yeah, sure. Map layout for the new map. Here it is. I think the B point is going to be... I don't know how tall the islands are. And I don't like these lanes near the C point. Especially because you can just like... people are going to go around and just not do the objective, and it's going to be awful. But I need to check how tall those islands are. Kind of. It kind of looks like a different volcanic island, yeah. Oh, this one is awful. The A point is just open ocean. No. This spawn point is probably the spawn point I will always take, and I'd go to B to like go behind this island here or behind this island, and then try and move on to the islands behind B and move from there. I wouldn't. If I get this map in a blue water vessel, I will never spawn on the A side. Never. But I also don't know the distances. I don't actually know how far away the spawns are. You know what I'll do? I'll try and queue for a match. And in the meantime, we'll just, you know, talk about stuff. Let's actually not go to squadron battles. Thank you very much. Oh, did it actually say the scale? I didn't notice. Did it actually? Let me just double check. It does say the scale. So 1 square is 1.3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like 7 because it's halfway in. So it's 9? No, how? Let me get my calculator because my math is just terrible. And I don't want to say wrong things. 7 times 1.3 is 9 kilometers apart. It is, however, capped to 5.0. It is capped to 5.0, so you're not going to see it in... It's a destroyer and early cruiser map only. Which is interesting, because I don't think... I think that's the... Actually, no, this one is capped to 5.0 as well. So it's this. Because there's not that many maps that are capped to 5.0. Well, actually, now that it's capped to 5.0, I probably should be playing a 5.0. Let's just send that to holiday. Do you have anything else Japanese I could use? I'll just drag these in here. There we go. And let's try that again. Ghana's still 5-3, isn't it? Always has been. Probably will be a cruiser spawn on the A side, which is just going to be garbage. Although it did look like you could get to the B point fairly decent. Yeah, the LCS is, I guess, a quote-unquote roadblock to the SETA. But the Italian coastal tree, I've found it to be a pleasant grinding experience, but I have grinded out like 2 years ago. So that was a very different time. Oh. Ah, yeah. I know bleeding uranium. I know those leaks, but I don't really. I don't really like Olivia's leaks too much because they're just there's no time frame on them. So I don't really care too much about them. But yeah, I know the leak you're talking about. But were they interesting ships? I don't even remember. Wasn't like 2 more Momi class destroyers for Japan and then like some different ones. They don't. I mentioned it before, but you might have not heard it. But this crew mapping does not work on frigates and other coastals with blue water damage model or complex damage model. It's just not available for them. Hopefully they do get it, because it's actually quite interesting to see those on coastals especially. But yeah. And let's see if, yeah. You say that, but weirdly enough, the Queen Mary is actually an interesting, like, lineup maker because it's 6.3. If it stays 6.3, that means you have a fast, though lightly armored, 13.5-inch gun armed battle cruiser together with your Dreadnought and Colossus, which are really not great ships. But Queen Mary might make a really nice addition to the British 6.3 lineup. Though, again, you can't really know their effectiveness until they get into game. It might be a surprisingly interesting ship. Well, yeah, but why get the hood? Yeah, that's the leak. Exactly, uranium. Nothing really interesting about that leak to me, in my opinion. Also, unless somebody volunteered to jump onto the dev server and play and try and queue up for 5-0, I don't think we'll find a match. Cough, Sam, please, maybe, perhaps. Also, I should actually be taking a Sendai or a Kuma, so I can have a float plane to really explore the map with. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, getting naval queues on the dev server is genuinely next to impossible. Especially now with the main focus being like new missiles for aircraft. Everybody's going to be in custom battles or queuing for aircraft battles just to get the new jets and new missiles. Oh yeah, Renown is fun. Renown is a pretty fun battle cruiser. I've played that last stream or the stream before? No, I played it last stream, I think. Man, I'm even forgetting my own streams. But yeah, it's Renown can be pretty fun. That's a good point, Uranium. That's a good point. One of those could indeed be the new starter premium. It would be... Getting HMS Vanguard before KGV or Nelson would be weird, because Vanguard is the last battleship. But on the other hand, Vanguard is not really that impressive of a battleship, is it? There's 2 people in queue. Does it even start a match with only 2 people? Oh well. Oh, don't worry. It's just me trying to see if we can get a queue. Like, I'll let the timer go to 10 minutes. And if it doesn't, oh well. We're doing 5-0, Sam, 5-0. Nothing higher than 5-0. Because the new map is limited to 5-0 max. Well, it kind of does. At least to my knowledge, not that I've played a lot of Naval during dev servers. But it usually does, just limited to the new maps. So that's why I'm trying to get into a match. Because the thing is, of course, the easiest bit would have just been me to host for me would have been to just host a custom battle. But you cannot select the new map as a custom battle yet, which is usually the case on dev servers and usually just as annoying. So our only hope is to just get it in the queue. But yeah. Now we just wait. Hopefully patiently. Does kind of feel like it, yeah. Lot of attention going to aircraft. But I genuinely find it that's a pretty good update naval-wise. The map changes are a bit whack, to say the least. Oh, we found a match. Is it the new map? Is it the new map? Yeah, god damn it. So, what we do now... well, thanks for the help. It's really great, but it's such a shame we didn't get a new map. What we could do is just leave, get into a new, and just crew like 4-3. Well, let's just play this out, I guess. Let's make it quick. New Japanese voice lines for plane. Oh, just stay out 3 times and leave. I could. Also, this is new, which is interesting. These spawn counters on top of the ships. Did they? Oh well.
Take him down.
Guess we'll just play a match of 5.0 on the devserver. Let's slowly work towards our Aguro. And again, if there's any more questions about the devserver, be sure to ask them. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Yeah, I think he's just given up as well. It might. One day, yeah. Am I still so far away? I genuinely think I'm happy with the update, personally. Because 1, Belgian jets, yes please. 2, actually, you know, decent naval additions, decent naval changes, other than the map changes. That new crew heat map is really nice, really nice, because it allows new people, it allows experienced people to just show people where the crew is, where to shoot. Really nice. It seems like an overall solid patch, even though it's not a naval focused one. Although I must add, there are more and more subtle inklings that submarines might be getting closer and closer as well. Although that's me probably just coping. I think we'll just stay, because the tickets are going to bleed so quickly. Yeah, Just waiting for this match to end basically now. Yeah, exactly. There were also new icons data mine. Somebody pinged me off for it on my server. I'll actually have to check again. Or updated icons from the submarine event, I think. If I got shot down, I don't really care anymore. I'm just looking where I was. There it is. Although I don't know if those icons are new. Kind of do look new. Yeah, apparently updated or some submarine icons were data mined from this dev server. So I'll just be sniffing the copium and hoping for submarines soon. Because they do still look cool. I think they'll be cool. That BR, no. Although, funny for, I think good enough for Grander B. I'm gonna get shot down by PR-206 as soon as I go over this mountain. You wait. Where is it? Yeah, that's a bit scarier. And I think we'll go down to a BR of like 4.3. So we're really in the BR bracket of that map. And hope we'll get it. And if we don't get it the second time around, I'll just leave, go back to the hangar, and maybe try and record some footage of it like tomorrow, or not during the stream. Because it's going to be a bit boring just looking at the same old naval maps during a dev server stream. At least I know that's not what I would like to watch. Oh boy. Engine fire. Oop, I needed those wings. Oh boy. That is a player. There are changes to the hit cam, but it's really difficult to see what they are. I definitely had a hole in some of my wings.
Keep it up and victory will be ours.
警戒態勢解除。武器と装備を保管庫に出動せよ。
So let's get to a 4.3 lineup and queue once more and pray for the best. I really like this drag and drop feature. This is satisfying to just drop them in. Yeah, this is indeed new, and it's really nice. At least I like it a lot. So yeah, we'll be queuing for 4.3. Let's hope we get a new map. And if we don't, I'll just go back to hangar, as I said. They've also, as you can see, these crews are numbered. Because I don't know how you read the roadmaps they publish. But I believe at some point you'll be able to like switch placements of the crew slots. And I think you might be able to name the crew slots. But I'm not entirely sure on that. So let's brave the queue again and see what happens. How much RP did I actually get from doing practically nothing? Next to nothing, apparently. I really like this being a new tech tree ship. And I can also just hide all the previous ranks. So you can see what I'm grinding for. There we go. Fingers crossed. Do we get the new map? We don't, but we do get a changed map. Let's see just how atrocious this is. Although I'm actually curious about this middle section. Because apparently these little islets inside of the B point have gotten taller or something like that. Yeah, see, he's just gone.
戦闘の準備をしろ。
Where are the islands?
最大戦速
No. There used to be a really big island here that you could use as cover. It's just gone. Just gone. Obliterated. The A point is still, like, it has the islands you need. There used to be an island chain there. There used to be more islands here. What? This is probably the most depressing sight. Just the no cover. Like that wasn't even really a short island either over there. It was actually a pretty good, solid island. Oh, somebody already has a bird now. Bought it, I assume. Well, let's leave him be. And if any of you have a plane to spawn, I think you'd love to try it. I really like this map still. But the removal of that island is unforgivable, man. Anyways, what's up over here? Is that a... Where is that? Oh, that is one of those islands. Damn, they really did make them taller. Let's get in there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, these map changes are genuinely bizarre because I don't understand who thinks they're better after the changes. Because at least there's a collision warning, which is also a new warning. Did somebody say they're from the mobile game? I'm willing to believe it, but I don't really play War Thunder Mobile, so I don't know. That island is still the same. That island is a bit taller, maybe? Looks the same. That's taller. So is that. So is that. So some of these islands are taller. Ah, okay. Yeah, these three islands are taller. That one might be, but like a little bit. It's not super tall. This is new. That one's definitely taller as well. Yeah, it is a quite loud and clear alarm. I have seen. That's not the hostile. I was thinking it was. Is this repeater bug still a thing on the dev? So let me check. Didn't get it triggered at least. Uh-oh. Oh, you cruel man. You knew I was playing Japan as well. Although I now have an island to hide behind. Well, the thing is, it was actually shortened than that when it originally was introduced, but it then increased it for blue water ships, because having it like 200 meters out is not, you know, sensible for blue water ships. Damn. The question here is, I have torpedoes, so do you. And you know that whatever side you're planning to come across, you're going to get long lanced. Although this thing doesn't actually carry long lances, does it? They're, yeah. Actually, 610s? It might be. No, it is Type 90s. Damn it, you knocked both of them out. Torpedoes. My only weapon. But you have run aground in front of torpedoes. Oh, don't back up, don't back up, don't you dare back up. God damn it. Oh well. So yeah, if you spawn over here now, you used to have a very big island to hide behind. Now you have nothing. And that... Should see closer than that, hold on. Nope. There's the enemy spawn. And I did indeed get him. I did indeed get the Italian man. You know, the enemy spawn is there. I have nowhere to hide. Who thinks spawn to spawn shooting is the thing that maps should get more of? Oh yeah, you can see, ooh, that's a new icon. A fire icon on the damage cam. You see that? Near the front gun of that Groza? Well, now it's... Yeah, that's a new icon apparently. That I did see in the notes, but it didn't actually see. I'll get to that later, QD again. But yeah. When we're back in the hangar, I'll show it again. Yeah, there again, bridge fire. Fire icon. Genuinely, I think this is a pretty good naval update. Nothing seems absolutely busted. They haven't touched damage models. Not really. The new ships are all... There's some copy-paste in there, but there's some unique ones, there's some interesting ones. They probably should add an outline, because the impact, like red impact markers, kind of wash out that flame marker, don't they? Radar. I'm still trying to think if I'm actually like upset about that island no longer being there or not. I think I am, because that's... I really don't like open ocean gunboating at lower BRs. Just, no. I'm again suffering from severe skill issues. There we go. It took several more salvos than it should have. Oh, see? Fire icon. Near the transmission. No, no. He's already at 25. Even at higher BRs, like open ocean is not fun, especially cruisers. Cruisers really like having, you know, proper protection cover as well. Especially against battleships. Although, the thing is, even... It's actually worse for torpedoes. Okay, Sam, that's fine. It's actually worse for torpedoes to have no islands, because you know what I did on this map? You had a alley you could just torpedo down. That you know people are going to go down that alley. So you could have a very tight torpedo spread. But now, because that alley no longer exists, it's worse for torpedoes. In a way. It's better in a way, it's worse in a way. It's my way of torpedoing stuff. I prefer having the alley there rather than the open ocean. I'm gonna get torpedoed, am I? Probably already on the way. There's any leads. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep trying for the new map either. So after this, I'm gonna do a quick recap of the dev server, and then it'll be end of stream for tonight. I'll try and get the map by myself either tonight or tomorrow, and have a video on that maybe, or just some clips. Yeah, the thing is, open circle maps are different, Uranium. Open circle maps are much longer range, and nobody has cover on them. So that's just how they work. But I've gotten into an argument with a strong word, but somebody's saying like, oh, 6-0s are terrible against battleships, and their 6-0s are just terrible in general because of their BR. And I've recently played a 6-0 match again with my Japanese 6-0 cruisers. I just said 6-0 twice, but forget about it. And I got an open circle map and a 7-0 up there. Where the fuck did those torpedoes come from? Okay. And yeah, you really want cover against battleships in a cruiser, even if you can't torpedo them. Let's see how different it looks from the air. There's supposed to be an island there, and there. Like on the A side, it's not as noticeable because the island chains that are gone were like beyond the A point. But that's the noticeable one. Although this, of course, it's just AIs, and they're just chaotic as all hell. I don't actually have the flag staff yet on the live server, which is yeah. I haven't been too active in War Thunder recently, to be honest. I haven't been doing my daily tasks or my challenges at all, and I really should. So I'll try and do something about that. But okay, let's do a quick recap. And again, if anybody has any questions about what else they want to see on the dev server, ask away. But let's do a quick little recap. We'll start with the naval editions, and forgive the colors because that's going to stay. Naval editions, we have Coastal for Germany, the Burnau, the one we have a dev blog about. I'm not going to get too into it. It's slow, it's big. The missiles are more a gimmick than actually useful. It's a interesting boat, but not a good one. So yeah, and currently way too expensive. Probably not going to stay that price where it is in the Tech 3, but that's what it is. Russia has a new coastal boat. It is a new top tier. Shared highest BR together with Saeta. Really fast, big, carries a lot of torpedoes which are mediocre, and has the same 76 as on other Russian boats. But its main key advantage is just speed. Then we have the Bravi having a reload animation for its missile launcher, which is nice. Then we go Coastal Shuffle, that's right. The 12 for 12 was in this line somewhere, I forgot where exactly. But has now been moved to in front of the new boat and, you know, different line. Then we go to Britain with Queen Mary, which is a battlecruiser behind HMS Invincible. At 6.3 makes an interesting lineup with Dreadnought and Colossus. 230,000 RP is normal for the BR. Armed with 13.5-inch guns, which pack a punch for the BR. It's also decently quick, but the armor is, well, a bit lacking, which is to be expected. I think there's word they might introduce the Strellas to the 12 for 12s, but nobody's really certain. Then, to continue on, we go to Japan with Haguro, which is basically a copy-paste of the Premium Miyoko, but with 4 less 25mm guns, that's it. So a decent Tech 3 cruiser, definitely a very decent Tech 3 cruiser. So yeah. Then we go to the next ship edition is the Italian LCS. Again, ignore the colors for now, I'll get to that later. This LCS has, it's a bit difficult to ignore the colors, but all has another Bofors 40mm in the front instead of a 76, and 4 single extra 50 caliber machine guns. So it is more DACA on an LCS. Then we go to France, which has 2 blue water ships, one being a premium of the reserve, which is garbage. I recommend against getting it. I genuinely just don't get it. The only difference between it and the reserve is just 4 more 13.2mm machine guns. And then you have an actually interesting boat, a post-war reparation, post-war prize, whatever, Guichet, which is a interesting anti-air destroyer, which is, yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but interesting boat. It is also the first appearance of the French 57mm anti-air guns. It is also armed with German 105s. It has really bad torpedoes, but excellent torpedo angles. Overall, it's an interesting boat. A very, very interesting boat. That's it for the ship editions we have for now. Then we go to map changes, which again allow me to bring up those images, which is a bit scuffed, but never mind. There it is. We have map changes going from Aleutian Islands, losing an island south of sea, to Fuego Islands getting quite a significant change with these 2 islands moving further apart. The island north in and south of Bravo disappearing, and the islands north and south of sea disappearing, which again is less cover, which breaks my mind why we don't less cover, but oh well, that's that. Then we move on to Kvarken, which just loses all of its islands south of the B point. So this little curve, if you can see my cursor, which I hope you can, this curve here is just all islands that disappear. Which is just, yeah, I'm not gonna stop for too long. And then Volcanic Islands, which we just saw in a live match, a match, loses some islands clusters here, and the significant one being those 2 islands around C, as well as the islands around B being raised in height, and I think 1 or 2 being changed. Yeah, the map changes are just atrocious, but that's the map changes. Oop, black screen, hold on. There we go. Okay. Tech tree and crew is what I kind of showed here, is that you can fold the tech tree ranks, which is kind of neat. Not really naval related, but oh well. Crew is what I mean when you can drag and drop ships from the tech tree to your bar, your crew slots. Again, not naval related, but something I'd like to mention. Radar. Again, let me get the list because there's a lot of them. Oh god, I removed the list. But basically, a bunch of German ships are getting radar, air search radar. A few French ones as well, like Le Malin's getting it. And then T-22, T-31, which is a premium. I think Z-32, 43, I think 15 as well. But Z-32, 43, 46, 47, Emden, Nuremberg, Graf Spee, Hipper, and Scharnhorst are all getting air search radar, which is very neat for the German tree. Then what else was I going to say? Hitcam and cycling. Hitcam is a bit difficult to describe, but the hitcam has been tried to be a bit clearer. So they look like good changes. Cycling is you can now cycle between your weapon groups, so primary, tertiary, and secondary, with 1 keybind instead of 3. More voice lines have been added specifically for aircraft launch, for spotting aircraft on radar, and for getting detonations on either, I think, enemy ships also. Let me just mute because I'm about to sneeze. Gotta love the sneeze in the middle of talking, but I will. So that's And this is the most important one, the QD you weren't here to see. The crew map is a really neat change that wasn't mentioned before, and the best example I know for it is the Alwyn, which is no longer in my lineup. There we go. Is if you go to armor, protection analysis on any blue water ship at the moment, and you click crew map, it'll show you where and how concentrated the crew is in that location of the ship. So what I'm seeing here is that there's a high concentration of crew in the engines, there's a medium concentration of crew in the transmission, and I'll actually show you the X-ray, medium in transmission. There's a crew compartment here, crew compartments here, there's crew in the radio station, in the bridge, there's crew in the gun turrets and in the torpedoes. Again, this goes for all blue water ships. So let me do it for this again. I have to redo it. There we go. So you can see there's crew in the turrets. There's a lot of crew in the crew compartments. There's crew in the fire directors, but there's no, interestingly enough, definitely something I want to hammer home. There's no crew in small caliber AA guns, at least according to this heat map. So like 40mm Bofors don't actually drain crew. Another thing I note, and you might have noticed just then, is I look at these crew maps broadside on because it actually depends on how you're angled and how you're looking at a target to see where most of the crew would be. That doesn't quite look right to me at angles, but like from top down you can also see it where most of the crew is. And again, this just showcases crew placement. This has no tell in like if you can pen or not. If this is the best way to sink a ship is also not, that's also not what it's showing. It's just showing where the crew is placed. So yeah, a very neat feature, and that is about it for Naval. If there are any other questions, if there's any ships you want me to look at with this new crew view, tell me. And I'm about to end stream then, if there's no further questions. Actually, that reminds me, because I've been kind of keeping the armor viewer a secret, or the crew viewer a secret. Let me just get a screenshot of the Alvin again. There we go. There we go. And I just need to do a screenshot real quick. There we go. So yeah. Any more questions? If there's anything else you want me to check out in the dev server that you haven't had a chance to look at as well, be it planes or tanks, I can show you, but know that I have no real knowledge to share on tanks or planes. Oh yeah. The submarine event was definitely fun. I could simply check what BR the Fox is at, but it shouldn't have changed on the dev server, I believe. Check. Still 7-7. This is in realistic battles. Arcade at 7-3, simulator at 7-7. No battleships, nope. The only blue water ships are the Japanese Haguro. Are this ship, and the French new ships are the only blue water ships. Actually, Queen Mary. I keep forgetting about the Queen Mary for some reason. Those are currently on the dev server the only blue water ships. I do have to remember. I do have to remind people that the dev server doesn't always show everything. So there might be more ships coming. We don't know. We can't be certain until the update goes live. And Trick, to answer that question about French Air, yeah, a lot. I've gotten a little bit further. I have gotten actually these two vehicles on the live server. But I have a long way to go to get to my Belgian F-16s. The Belgian ones are all the right-hand tree, but yeah, Both the F-16s are Belgian. This is Belgian, this is Belgian, Hunter is Dutch. The Meteor is Belgian, the Spitfire is Belgian, then the Firefly and the Fokker are Dutch, and then the Gladiator is Belgian. Yep, all on the right hand side. Yep, just these two are Dutch, and then these Hunters Dutch. All of these later cool jets are Belgian, and I really, really want to get my hands on them just for deliveries alone. Look at it. I need it. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Unless any more questions come in. But I think there won't be. Anyways, thank you all for watching. And I hope I've been able to share enough information about this dev server. As usual, when the update actually goes live, I'll be making a video on it. And other than that, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all next week, probably.